How's it going, boys? Welcome back to the Wisco Boys YouTube channel. My name is Bryce Doomer, and I'll be your host today. I'd like to start off by apologizing if the audio sounds a little rough. My voice, I'm going through a little bit of a cold, but we've got a few pretty significant Packers stories to talk about today. Some very fun, some unfortunately not so much. Starting with Josh Jacobs, who officially was charged following the incident that happened back in May. Then we're going to talk about the Packers having added some much needed depth to their tight end room by signing veteran Jonnu Smith. And lastly, we're going to talk about some rumors surrounding a potential trade of Josh Sweat to the Green Bay Packers. So we've got a lot to get into today. If you're new here, feel free to subscribe to the channel. I post Packers and Brewers content throughout the week. But without further ado, let's get into the video. Starting with the biggest story, Josh Jacobs has officially received a misdemeanor battery charge and a misdemeanor criminal damage to property charge stemming from the incident that happened back in May. The Packers have acknowledged the situation and they declined to comment any further. The NFL has also acknowledged the situation and said that they're looking into it to determine what, if any, action needs to be taken. At the end of the day, there has to be consequences for people's actions. I'm not a legal expert, and I'm not going to sit here and speculate about what the punishment might be or should be, how long the suspension, if any, Josh Jacobs might receive. I trust that the legal system will determine the appropriate consequences, and the NFL and the Packers organizations will make their decisions from there. Obviously, football comes second in a situation like this, but we are a football show. So I do want to take some time to talk about how this could potentially affect the Packers' run game this season and what Green Bay might do depending on what happens. The first possibility is that Jacob receives a relatively short suspension and the Packers ultimately decide to keep him. In that scenario, maybe you let Marshawn Lloyd step into that starting role while Josh Jacobs is unavailable, and we'll see what he can do. If he ends up missing a more significant amount of time, then the Packers have a much bigger decision to make. With Josh Jacobs out, the running back room would be led by Marshawn Lloyd, backed up by Chris Brooks and Pierre Strong Jr. And with the injury history of Marshawn Lloyd, I definitely don't feel comfortable going into the season with him leading that room without bringing in any kind of additional help. Who they would decide to sign, I'm not sure. I don't even know if it's necessary that they will need to sign somebody. Like I said, we will see. We'll have to see depending on what happens to Jacob in terms of a potential suspension. If he is going to miss a significant amount of time, I definitely think it's worth the Packers looking into a potential replacement and adding another running back to that room. But for now, there's not much we can do other than wait and see what happens with Jacobs. What happens from the legal process, and ultimately what the NFL and the Packers decide to do. Next up, we're going to talk about the Packers adding Jonnu Smith to the roster. Jonnu Smith, coming off of a bit of a down year in Pittsburgh, will be joining the Packers to add some much needed depth to the tight end room. Obviously, with Tucker Kraft coming back from injury, you'd like to have some additional support behind him. Luke Musgrave, who I would think would be that backup, doesn't seem like a reliable option at the moment because he's still on the PUP list with a neck injury. You don't want to mess around with that. Excuse me. Throughout training camp and the preseason, I don't think any of the other tight ends have really stepped up in the way we might have hoped. So I think this signing adds a lot of depth to the room and gives me a lot more comfort as a fan as we approach this season. There's no getting around the fact that Jonnu Smith had a pretty significant drop-off last year in Pittsburgh. He played a full season, but he finished with 38 receptions, 222 yards, and 2 touchdowns, averaging 5.8 yards per reception. But what makes the signing interesting is what he did just 1 year before that in Miami. In 2024, Jonnu arguably had the best season of his entire career, where he caught 88 passes for 884 yards and 8 touchdowns, averaging exactly 10 yards per reception. He set career highs in receptions and receiving yards, tied his career high touchdowns, and earned his first Pro Bowl selection of his career. And that wasn't just decent tight end production. He actually led the Dolphins in receptions that season, ahead of Tyreek Hill and Jaden Waddle. So some pretty significant production from him that year. And we're only one season removed from that Jonnu Smith. So he definitely has a chance to be a legitimately productive tight end in the NFL. Am I expecting him to be the 2024 version of Jonnu Smith? Not exactly. He's 31 years old, and I don't think Green Bay needs him to come in and be that 2024 Jonnu Smith. Once Tucker Kraft is fully healthy, he's your number one tight end, obviously. But what Jonnu gives you is a veteran behind him who has proven himself in the NFL. And considering the uncertainty surrounding a guy like Luke Musgrave or maybe the other guys in that room, I think that it's pretty valuable to have him a part of this roster. If he can come in, give you some reliable snaps, catch some passes, take some pressure off Tucker Kraft as he works his way back from his injury, I think this could end up being a really solid signing. There's not a ton of risk here. You're adding an experienced veteran who was a Pro Bowler just 2 seasons ago to a position group that has some pretty serious question marks going into week 1. Overall, I really like the move. And lastly, we're going to talk about some of the rumors surrounding a Josh Sweat trade to the Green Bay Packers. These rumors really started circulating earlier in the offseason with people connecting the Packers to Sweat and wondering if Green Bay would potentially want to make a move to bring him in here. Now, I do want to make something clear. As of right now, the Cardinals have maintained they are not going to trade for Josh Sweat. There's been reporting that teams have reached out and they've been told by Arizona that they're not going to be trading him. So I'm not sitting here and saying that Sweat is about to be traded. But could that change? Absolutely. If it does, I think the Packers would absolutely be making that phone call because Josh Sweat would be a significant addition to this defense. He's coming off of arguably one of his better seasons in Arizona, finishing with 12 sacks and 4 forced fumbles. With Micah Parsons injured and potentially missing a significant chunk of this season, how nice would it be to have another legitimate edge rusher on this defensive line? And then when Micah comes back, imagine having Josh Sweat attacking the QB from one side and Micah from the other. That'd be a ton of fun to watch. And then you consider LVN taking another step forward in the defense. And this scary Packers defense looks a whole lot scarier. There's also the connection that makes sense with Green Bay with Jonathan Gannon. Sweat having one of his better seasons playing under Gannon in Arizona. Now he is the defensive coordinator here in Green Bay. So if Sweat were to eventually be made available, there's already some familiarity with the system and the coordinator. And the timing is also pretty funny to talk about surrounding this whole trade because the Cardinals were just at Green Bay for the joint practice and Josh Sweat returned to practice for the joint practice with the Packers and Cardinals. My understanding is that he has not been practicing throughout this offseason thus far, and he returned to practice for this joint practice in Green Bay here. So that means the Packers coaching staff were able to get a firsthand look of him on the field. Does that mean that Gutekunst and the Arizona office was, sitting and negotiating a trade? Of course it doesn't. We have no idea, but it's fun to think about. Ultimately, we're going to have to wait and see. Maybe Arizona sticks to its word and Josh Sweat remains a Cardinal. Maybe their season doesn't go the way they want it to, and around the trade deadline, maybe they're more open to a trade. You never know. Something could change sooner than we expect. I'm sure that plenty of teams would be interested if Josh Sweat actually became available, so Green Bay certainly wouldn't be alone in potentially trying to pursue him. I struggle to get optimistic about these things because Packers fans get connected to big name players all the time, and a lot of the time nothing usually happens, but you never know. Last year we were sitting talking about Micah Parsons rumors and speculating about that, and now he's a Green Bay Packer, so I'm not going to completely rule anything out. This would be a very exciting notification to read if it pops up. But that is going to do it for today's video. Let me know what you guys think about everything we talked about. What do you think about the Josh Jacobs situation? Do you like the Jonnu Smith signing? And I think the most exciting, if Josh Sweat does become available, how aggressive do you think Gutekunst should be in trying to bring him to Green Bay? Let me know down in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to like and subscribe for more Packers and Brewers content throughout the season. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next one.